The winter sun had barely risen, washing the quiet street in pale gold. Frost clung to the railings, the air still and echoing. Julian Cross stepped onto the porch for a routine visit, until a little girl with snow in her curls whispered, trembling, "Sir, my mom isn't waking up." If you believe in compassion, hope, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more stories. Let's begin. Winter mornings had a way of making the world feel fragile, as though every breath could shatter the silence. Julian Cross, a young CEO whose life revolved around schedules and efficiency, stepped onto the porch of a small rental home expecting nothing more than a routine inspection for one of his company's charity programs. But when the door opened, everything quiet inside him broke. A little girl, 5 or 6 at most, stood barefoot on the wooden boards, her blonde curls dusted with snow as though winter itself had woven into her hair. Her eyes were wide with fear, her small hands trembling as she whispered, "Sir, my mom isn't waking up." In that moment, Julian's world shifted from spreadsheets and deadlines to a child's terrified face. He lowered himself to her level, heart pounding. "Show me, sweetheart," he said softly. "I'm here." Lily led him inside with hurried steps. The air was cold but carried a faint lavender scent, the kind people use to make a place feel warmer than it is. Everything was tidy, almost painfully so, yet worn from years of stretching every dollar. An old heater humming faintly, a patched couch, shoes repaired with glue and thread. In the bedroom, Julian found Emily Hart lying motionless on a thin mattress. Papers surrounded her, unfinished work, overdue bills, notes written in tidy handwriting that betrayed exhaustion. Her skin was pale, her breathing shallow. Fear jolted through him. He called emergency services immediately. Lily clutched the sleeve of his coat as if afraid to let go, her small body shaking. Julian wrapped an arm around her while paramedics lifted Emily onto a stretcher. He had expected a routine task this morning. Instead, he was pulled into the center of someone's quiet tragedy. Hospitals were always too bright, too sterile, too indifferent to the people who clung to hope inside them. Julian sat with Lily while doctors examined Emily. Her tiny hand slipped into his, trusting him completely, as if she'd decided in one moment that he was safe. When the doctor finally approached, Julian braced himself. Emily had collapsed from extreme exhaustion and untreated anemia. Her body had simply shut down from months of overwork, skipped meals, little sleep, and constant stress. "She's been running on empty for a very long time," the doctor said gently. Julian felt guilt twist in his stomach. He remembered her shy email months earlier asking for additional work. He'd brushed it aside during a chaotic week, unaware it might have been a plea for survival. Now Lily leaned against him, whispering, "Mommy always says tired is normal." He swallowed hard. "It shouldn't be normal, Lily. Not anymore." Over the next several days, Julian visited the hospital constantly. At first, he told himself it was responsibility. He had encountered Lily. He had called the ambulance. He was simply following through. But the truth grew clearer each time Lily ran toward him with relief in her small face. He brought warm meals Emily could eat once she regained strength, coloring books and stuffed animals for Lily, and long moments of steady comfort when fear overwhelmed the little girl. When Emily was finally conscious enough to speak, she apologized in a trembling voice. "I'm sorry you saw us like that. I should have managed better." Julian shook his head gently. "You did everything you could. You shouldn't have been carrying it alone." Emily looked away, ashamed of her fragility, unaware that her resilience was the very thing he admired most. As Emily's strength returned, Julian made a decision he had thought about for days. One afternoon, he arrived with a folder and a nervousness he didn't expect for a business conversation. Inside was an offer, a full-time position at his company with better pay, stable hours, full benefits, and guaranteed support for childcare. Emily's hand flew to her mouth as tears filled her eyes. "Julian, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Lily said before hugging him tightly. Julian smiled. "You deserve a life where you can breathe, Emily. Let us help." Emily cried softly, not out of weakness, but from the overwhelming relief of finally being seen, finally being supported, finally not having to choose between survival and motherhood. Weeks went by, and Julian drifted naturally into their lives in ways none of them expected. He He repaired the broken heater and patched the leaking faucet. He replaced Lily's worn shoes with ones she proudly showed off at school. He brought groceries, taught Lily simple math tricks, and sometimes finished his corporate work at their kitchen table while she colored beside him. Emily regained color in her cheeks, her posture straightening as her energy returned. The once tired light in her eyes warmed into genuine laughter during quiet evenings when Julian stayed for dinner. What surprised him most was the sense of belonging he felt in that small home. It wasn't grand or luxurious, but it was filled with warmth, honesty, and a simplicity his life had been missing for years. The more he came, the more he realized he didn't want to leave. Spring sunlight replaced winter's cold, casting a golden glow over the yard. Lily chased butterflies barefoot in the grass, her laughter light enough to lift the air itself. Emily stood on the porch, leaning against the railing, a soft smile on her face as she watched her daughter play. Her hair glimmered in the warm light, her color restored, her strength renewed. No longer a woman drowning in exhaustion, but one rising again. Julian stood beside her, feeling something settle inside him, something clear, gentle, and undeniably true. He hadn't simply helped them. They had changed him. They reminded him that life wasn't measured in achievements or accolades, but in the quiet moments where hearts touched and softened. As Lily ran toward them, arms wide, Julian knelt and caught her in a warm embrace. Emily's eyes met his, grateful and tender. In that instant, he understood. Kindness didn't save just one life that winter morning. It saved 3. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe to keep more unforgettable stories coming.